Good morning, Year 10. I hope you are all well and that you've had a nice day yesterday. Apologies for the misunderstanding or the mistake with regards to yesterday's lesson uploaded and not being able to have access. That should be sorted today. So once again, it's Mr. Pena here, and I'm going to be taking you through some science. Today we are going to be looking at some chemistry. With regards to this chemistry topic, you're going to need to try and think about atoms, elements, try and think about where the protons and neutrons are in the atom, where the electrons are in the atom, and what this means for the atom or the element in itself. Okay, so you pause the video, take a couple of minutes to think about that, and let's get going with the lesson when you come back. Okay. So, looking back at this lesson or this particular topic, let's have a look at the first, or what you would have had us to do it now. I thought it'd be better if we go through it rather than just getting you to do it. Just as a reminder, so you can hold, in terms of electrons are located on the outer shells of the atom. Protons and neutrons are located in the center. So up to 2 electrons can go on the first shell of the atom. This is because the shell is quite small, so only 2 can fit. Then you get 8 electrons on the next 2 outer shells, so on the second and the third outer shell. That's what you need to know for now. The electron configuration of boron is 2, 3. That means there is 2 electrons on the first shell, and then there is 3 on the second shell. Explain why all atoms have a neutral charge. This is because they have an equal number of positive protons and negatively charged electrons. So protons have a positive charge, electrons have a negative charge, and so these level themselves out in the periodic table. However, that can change. We'll talk about that in a moment. What is bonding? So bonding is when 2 elements are chemically joined, and these change the chemical structure of it. So they have to be chemically joined rather than just having 2 in one particular position. That would be a mixture. So moving on, we are going to be looking at why do atoms bond, what is an ionic bond, or what are ionic bonds, and what structures do they make. Pause the video, have a look at this sentence in front of you, try and fulfill it, try and complete it. Once you've done, pause the video and let's go through it. Welcome back. So the aim of any atom is to have a full outer shell. This is full of electrons. That's what we're talking about. So a full outer shell of electrons. The reason being is until this is achieved, they are unstable. So the atoms, they want to be stable. When they have a full outer shell, they are completely stable. So what does this mean, or what does it look like? So look at the images below and tell me, do they have full outer shells? Do they not? Pause the video, take a couple of minutes to decide. Just bear in mind, if you are doing work on a computer, feel free to email us. If you have done it on a piece of paper, feel free to take a picture of the papers that you've done it through, send it over to us via email, and we can give you some feedback. So if you want to pause the video now, go ahead, come back when you're ready. So welcome back. Looking at starting at helium on the left. So helium has a proton number, or a Z number, which is the number of atoms, of protons number, so of 2. So you can see here we've got 2 electrons on the first shell, which would mean that this has a complete outer shell. Looking at then chlorine, if we know that the third shell can have 8, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means there is space for yet another electron on the outer shell here, so it does not have a complete outer. And looking at potassium, 19 here, only 1 on the outer shell. It can hold up to 8, so therefore it does not have a complete outer shell. So what does this mean? Having a look at it on here, tell me, when an atom gains or loses an electron, it is now called something. Pause the video, try and think about it, try and find the answer and fill in the gap. Welcome back. So what it is, it's called an ion. Okay, so you see this word here, an ion. What this means is it has a charge, whether it's positive or a negative charge. Positive charged atoms or elements, they're called cations. On the other side, they're called anions, when it's negatively charged. What this means is because we've got more number of protons, which are positively charged in an atom, if you lose an electron, it means they have a positive charge overall. If you gain an electron, it means they have a negative charge because electrons are negatively charged. What I would suggest is pause the video, copy the diagram that's here in the middle, okay, and make a note of the two names because you will refer to these. So positively charged ions, cations, and negatively charged anions. You will need to refer to these two throughout the rest of the lesson and in the future. So pause the video now and make a note of these. Perfect, welcome back. So looking at this then, atoms always form ions by losing or gaining electrons to make a full outer shell. So how does the group number in the periodic table relate to an ionic charge? Have a look at the periodic table. If you don't have one with you, feel free to look on the internet for one. I'm sure you'll be able to find one. Have a look at the groups. So you groups 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8, and try and think, how does group 1, are they going to lose or gain an electron? So are they going to be positive ions? Group 2, once again, are they going to lose or gain electrons to gain a full outer shell? And do the same for group 6, 7, and 8. Pause the video, come back when you're ready. So let's have a look then. Example, let's do group 2. So group 2, we know that they have a outer shell, 2 electrons on the outer shell. You can see this one here and one here on the other side. Is it easier for this group to lose these 2, or is it easier for this group to gain 6 electrons? Is it easy for me to collect 6 things, or is it easier for me to drop 2 things? In the case of magnesium, it's easier for them to lose 2 electrons. It takes less effort, and therefore, by losing 2 electrons, they can have a complete outer shell. However, it would give as an ion a positive charge of +2. Reason being is we have more protons in the nucleus than we do electrons. Let's go through that again. By magnesium losing 2 electrons, these 2 on the outer shell, now magnesium has a complete outer shell. However, the charge of the ion is +2 because there is more protons now than there are electrons. Protons are positively charged, electrons are negatively charged, and it gives it a new charge of +2. So have a look at the periodic table, and you can see on here we've labeled what the charges are for these these elements, in these groups. In group 1 is +1 because they lose 1 electron. They've got an electron on the outer shell, they can lose that. So therefore, it's a positive proton, positive charge. There it is. +2 on group 2 because they lose 2 electrons. Over on this side, so group 6, 7, and 0. Okay, so they lose they gain 3 electrons, which means that they become negatively charged. These gain 2, this gains 1 electron, and these ones, they have a complete outer shell anyways, so therefore they have no charge. These guys, in case you didn't know, over on the right hand side, they are called the noble gases. Noble because they are unreactive. This is because they have a full outer shell. So we've got a task here. Give yourself 10 minutes, pause the video, have a look at trying to do the questions. Okay, if you get stuck, obviously contact us so we can help you with these tasks, but attempt it. Try and do it yourself. Okay, if you can't do it yourself, try having a look on BBC Bitesize, see if you can try and figure out how to do it before contacting us. You know, we want you guys to gain a bit of independence. So pause the video, give yourself 10 minutes, and then come back. Okay, so welcome back. If you have done the activity, feel free to email it to us. We'll give you some feedback on how you can improve and how you can make more progress. So ionic bonding then, basically this is a type of bonding that is all about cations and anions. So looking at these, hydrogen and metals, group 1 and 2, transition metals, lose electrons to form cations. For example, sodium, which is Na+, okay, so this means that it has lost an electron, it's got a positive charge. Okay, so the non-metals and gain electrons to form anions. For example, chlorine minus, you see it's got a negative charge, which means it has got a electron. So what might happen between these two ions? Try and think what happens when you have opposites of something. Pause it for a minute, try and think, give yourself an answer, and then come back. Looking at what happens then, this diagram helps you to understand what happens. So if we know that sodium, because it's got 1 electron on the outer shell, wants to have a stable outer shell, or it wants to be stable, we know that by losing 1, it can become stable. So this electron is released, and we know that chlorine wants to gain 1. So therefore, it grabs it and puts it on its outer shell. What this causes is it causes sodium to have a positive charge, chlorine to have a negative charge, has 1 extra electron, and these opposite charges attract towards each other. So this is what's called ionic bonding. Sodium has donated an electron to chlorine, and chlorine has taken it, and this makes them be attracted towards each other, and therefore they stick together. This is what we know as sodium chloride, otherwise known as table salt, and this is how table salt is made. So have a look at the questions in front of you, pause the video, give yourself 10 minutes maximum. Once you have completed that, the lesson will be over. Try and do the best that you can. There is an extension task if you've done it, if you feel like pushing yourself, which I would suggest that you do. Try and do it. So if you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much. Thank you for joining in with the lesson. I hope that you've learned something from it. Obviously we will be doing these lessons, but they will be live from next week, so hopefully it'll be a lot easier for you guys. Once again, I appreciate all the effort and what you've been doing. So take care, wish you all the best, and we shall see you soon.